There's a quiet hum in the air, not the sound of engines or wind, but something deeper, something that exists only in thought. The physicist sits by the dim light of his old desk lamp, a cup of untouched coffee cooling beside scattered papers filled with equations, each one a doorway to impossible dreams. Tonight, his mind drifts toward a question that has haunted every thinker who's ever looked up at the stars. What happens to time when you reach the speed of light? Outside, the night is still. The stars hang motionless in their ancient places. Yet he knows they are moving faster than his imagination can hold. He writes a simple sentence in the corner of his notebook. If you move with the light, does time wait for you or leave you behind? The ink bleeds slightly into the paper as if even it is unsure of the answer. He imagines himself inside a beam of light, traveling not through space, but through everything. In that instant, motion loses meaning. The faster you go, the slower time flows. And if you could somehow reach that ultimate limit, the speed of light itself, then time would simply ... stop. Or at least, that's what the math says. But the physicist knows that equations are only half of the truth. The other half lies somewhere unspoken, somewhere between the numbers and the silence of what can't be measured. What does it mean for time to stop? Does the universe freeze like a photograph, every atom suspended in eternal stillness? Or does it mean that the traveler, the one moving at light speed, simply steps outside the river of time entirely, no longer flowing with it, but observing from a place where past and future blend into one endless now? He looks out the window where the stars seem frozen but are, in truth, burning with unimaginable velocity. To them, time is different. For a photon, the universe has no duration. It is born and it dies in the same instant. For light, there is no waiting, no before or after, just the eternal moment of being. The physicist feels a chill at that thought. To move at light speed is not just to move faster than anything else. It is to leave time itself behind. It is to exist in a single heartbeat that never ends. And maybe, he wonders, that's what eternity truly is. Not infinite time, but timelessness. He thinks of how Einstein once described this strange truth, that as you approach the speed of light, everything stretches and slows. Time for you becomes syrup thick and unyielding. For the rest of the universe, eons may pass, but for you, only seconds would. To travel at light speed, then, would not just be to move through space. It would be to leap over time. You would watch the universe age in fast motion while your own clock barely ticks. Galaxies would bloom and die in the blink of an eye. Stars would be born and fade like sparks in a storm. The physicist closes his eyes and imagines standing at that edge at the very limit of existence. What would it feel like to look back and see all of time unfolding at once? Every memory, every history, every dream stacked together like pages in a book being read in an instant. He wonders if light itself remembers where it has been, if it carries the ghost of every place it has ever touched. Maybe the light from ancient stars still holds the memory of the worlds that no longer exist. Maybe when we look at the sky, we aren't just seeing the past, we're looking at the preserved fragments of time that never stopped for light. Because for light, stopping is meaningless. The physicist opens his notebook again and writes another line. Time stops not for the light, but for everything that tries to chase it. He smiles faintly at the thought. Perhaps we humans, always racing forward, always reaching for the impossible, are simply chasing light in our own way, chasing understanding, meaning, permanence. But maybe the secret isn't to catch it. Maybe it's to realize that we already carry a spark of it inside us, a fragment of something that exists beyond time. After all, the atoms in our bodies were born in the hearts of stars. The light that once raced across galaxies now burns in our cells, in the energy that keeps us alive. Maybe that's why time feels strange sometimes, why moments stretch or vanish, why memories blur, because deep down, part of us doesn't belong entirely to time. The physicist leans back in his chair, eyes half closed, and imagines what it would be like to become light, to slip free of the ticking of clocks, of the pull of gravity, of the weight of waiting. Would there be thought, feeling? Or would it all dissolve into a single, infinite flash of awareness, pure pure and endless. Perhaps he thinks light doesn't experience time because it doesn't need to. It just is. Asterisk, the physicist lets the thought carry him beyond the walls of his small observatory. In his mind, he steps into a beam of light and begins to move faster and faster until the world behind him blurs into color and then into nothing. He watches the seconds stretch, then vanish. The tick of a clock becomes a hum that never reaches his ears. Around him, the universe folds into stillness. He feels no wind, no motion, just a deep, endless calm. This is what the equations hinted at. Not speed, but stillness. So absolute that it becomes its own kind of motion. To move at the speed of light is to escape the very medium that defines change. For the traveler, there is no journey, because there is no before or after. All destinations collapse into one. He imagines what a photon might see if it could see the entire universe compressed into a single flash. Every moment overlapping, every place existing simultaneously. From its perspective, creation and destruction are one event. Time is flat, and eternity is now. But for him, for everything with mass and memory, this experience is forbidden. The closer one gets to the speed of light, the more the universe resists. Energy climbs toward infinity. The body strains under the weight of time dilation. And even thought becomes stretched thin across impossible distances. It is as if reality itself whispers, "You may approach, but you may not become." The physicist finds beauty in that resistance. Maybe the barrier of light is not a wall meant to imprison us, but to protect us from a kind of existence our hearts could not bear. To live outside time would mean to lose the rhythm of moments, sweetness of sequence, the meaning of before and after. He realizes that without time, there would be no music, no heartbeat, no story. Without time, even love would lose its shape. Perhaps that's why we are bound by it, because we need time to understand ourselves. Yet part of him still wonders what it would mean to touch that edge, to stand where the seconds end. He imagines his body stretching through space-time. Atoms dissolving into energy, thought merging with the rhythm of the universe. The stars rush by in silence. Planets blink like memories. Galaxies spiral and fade faster than he can comprehend. Billions of years pass around him, but within him, nothing moves. He feels like a ghost, present in all times, yet belonging to none. The sight is beautiful and unbearable. He sees civilizations rise and vanish, stars being born and collapsing into black holes, as the Milky Way colliding with its neighbors. He watches the future unfold in moments, until even the light around him begins to dim. The universe cools, expands, and drifts into darkness. Trillions of years of cosmic history slip by like dust in a sunbeam. And then, silence. The physicist floats in a void where even light begins to fade, where time itself seems to lose meaning. This is what it would be like, he thinks, if time truly stopped. There would be no movement, no decay, no heartbeat. Only being, pure, unbroken being. And yet in that frozen silence, he feels something else. A pulse. Not physical, not measurable, but real. The universe is not dead. It's waiting. Waiting for the next spark, the next expansion, the next beginning. Time, it seems, doesn't stop. It rests. Like breath held between exhalations. The physicist opens his eyes, realizing that maybe the question has no single answer. Time does not stop when you reach the speed of light. It changes meaning. For us, it's a sequence. For light, it's a presence. For the universe, it's a rhythm of becoming. He stands and walks toward the window. Outside, the dawn is beginning to stir faint gold along the horizon, cutting through the darkness. The stars begin to fade, replaced by sunlight, and he smiles. Light moves endlessly, yet it always arrives. Maybe that's the lesson. We may never reach its speed, but we can follow its path to move forward, to carry warmth, to illuminate the darkness we find ourselves in. Time may bend, slow, or even pause for some, but its meaning is not in motion. It's an experience. To live within time is to feel it. And to feel it is to know that every moment, even fleeting, is eternal in its own small way. Asterisk. The physicist stays by the window for a long while, watching the sunrise spread slowly across the sleeping town. The world feels different now, not because it has changed, but because he has. He thinks about the way light travels, how it leaves a star and crosses the void for billions of years just to touch a single planet. A single morning, a single human face. That light never experiences time, yet it gives life to everything that does. Maybe that's the secret he was searching for all along. Time doesn't stop at the speed of light. It transforms into something that connects instead of measures. Light is not outside of time. It is the thread that weaves it together. He realizes that every beam of light that touches Earth is an ancient messenger, carrying with it the memory of where it began, yet never aging, never weary. The sunlight on his face right now might have been born before the Earth itself. And yet here it is, present, alive, now. Maybe that's what eternity looks like when it chooses to take form. The physicist smiles softly. We spend our lives measuring time, fearing its loss, chasing its control. But maybe we misunderstand what it really is. Time isn't an enemy or a thief. It's a bridge. It lets us move, change, feel, become. Without it, nothing could grow or end or begin again. Perhaps light doesn't stop time because time never truly stops. It only changes shape, like water turning into mist, or sound becoming silence. He thinks of people he has loved and lost, of moments that seemed brief, of days that disappeared like smoke. Where did they go? Nowhere, perhaps. They became part of the same fabric, the same endless moment that light lives in. Maybe every second that passes doesn't vanish. It folds itself into the continuum of existence, still there, still real, just beyond our perception. He feels a strange peace at that thought. Maybe we never really lose anything. We just move through it. We are travelers within time, not trapped by it, but guided by it. And maybe when we die, we don't end. We just step into that other kind of time, the one light has always known. A time without sequence, without fear, where everything simply is. The physicist looks again at the rising sun, at the way the light dances across his hands. It's the same light that has touched every creature, every mountain, every ocean since the beginning. It carries no memory of distance, only presence. To it, nothing is far away. The past, the present, the future, all the same brilliant flash. And suddenly, the physicist understands why people are drawn to light. It's not just warmth or sight or beauty, it's recognition. Somewhere deep inside, we remember what it feels like to be timeless, to exist as pure energy before we were shaped by clocks and calendars. Perhaps that's why time feels heavy, because we are creatures of light trying to move through matter. We are slowed down pieces of eternity, learning how to love in sequence. The physicist writes one last note before the day begins. Time is not what ends. Time is what allows everything to begin. He closes his notebook and sits in the sunlight, feeling it on his skin. Thinking of all the photons that began their journey long before his world existed. And in that quiet, he senses something vast but intimate, the universe watching itself. Through him, through every living thing, through every flash of awareness that wonders where it came from, light is not what we chase. It is what we are returning to. Perhaps when our hearts stop beating, we don't disappear into darkness. We simply accelerate not through space, but through meaning, until we reach the place where time can no longer follow. And there, in that silent brilliance, maybe everything we've ever been still exists, still shining, forever caught in the single endless moment that began when the universe first opened its eyes. The physicist closes his own eyes and lets that thought settle, soft as morning light. Somewhere in the distance, a clock ticks, steady, patient, unhurried. But for him, it no longer feels like a countdown. It feels like a heartbeat. The rhythm of something infinite, something that began long before him and will continue long after. And maybe that's all time ever was. Not a ruler, but a reminder. A gentle way for the universe to teach us that even when everything changes, light still finds its way home. Asterisk.